Well, we are going to be in for a treat today because I am in a mood. Not a horrible mood, but just one of those moods where I'm probably going to get a little ranty and might even get a little wild, but I feel like it has to be done and has to be said. And we're going to say it because that's what we do here at the Thrive Forever Fit Show. We're all about transparency, honesty, giving you the truth about anything and everything health and wellness and abundance related. And here's what happened. Last week, if you've listened to the podcast, I had a physician / business guy on who was slotted and slated to talk about fasting and all of the benefits and all of the magic and all of the things and that you get from the process of fasting. As you guys know, I am a 10-year intermittent faster. But what it really turned into after I listened back to the podcast, in the time of the show, you'll hear me, I kept asking questions about, women and intermittent fasting, what were the age ranges of the intermittent fasting or the fasting type protocols that you guys have studied. And it really, in listening back, was really just kind of a pitch fest. It was more about him talking about his product that he has created and was trying to sell. And I respect that. I honestly do. Like, I'm a business owner. I own a supplement company. I own a gym. I own a coaching business. If anybody understands like selling and talking about your services, it's me. I'm 100% down and deep in the streets with that. But in listening back, every question that I asked related to pretty much anything intermittent fasting kind of circled back to the product that he was there to promote and nothing greater than or an expansiveness of that. And so it got me thinking, hey, listen, here's what needs to happen. Here's what I'm going to do because you guys deserve to hear some just actual factual truths. And so today, I'm not going to sell you anything. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to tell you about my lifestyle plan, like how I live my life. And if you notice the title of the podcast in the on Apple or on YouTube or in one of the memes or one of the posts that we put on social media, it's fasted keto carnivore who also loves cocktails. And that's just the truth. Like, that's my lifestyle. I am a 10-year intermittent faster. So my fasting window is in between 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating. Usually my eating window is actually smaller than that. I'm usually closer to an 18-6, right? Like fast for 18 hours and I eat for 6 hours. And I'm going to tell you why I do that. I'm going to tell you how successful that has been for me and how it's changed my life, right? The reason I do what I do, the reason I have my fitness studio is because I've been lifting weights and working out since I was in the 6th grade. The 6th grade, guys. I'm going to be 48 years old in October. I've been doing this stuff since I was in the 6th grade. Fitness and nutrition and all of those things. At one point in my life, I would have been considered obese. I'll get to that in a little bit as well. I'm now not obese. I'm going to get to my actual statistical numbers that are going to blow you away whenever you hear the data that I'm going to support. And I've got the InBody test right here to support it with. If you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing me hold up my InBody. So it's not just BS. It's not just me guessing. And so what I need to do is I need to tell you how I've gotten to where I got to, right? Because it's not marketing. It's not sale. Like, intermittent fasting is not a diet. Intermittent fasting is just simply a way of life. It's a controlled mechanism and manner of eating that has helped thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people, hundreds and hundreds of those being my clients, lose weight and keep weight off long term. Now, I add in there the Keto-Carnivore, right? I am not really a proponent of the ketogenic diet. So the reason I put the keto part in there for me is because my fuel source that works the best for my body, and that what I have found to work the best for most of my clients' bodies is fat, right? You've got 2 fuel source options. You've got fat and you've got carbohydrates. Those are your 2 fuel sources. That's it, right? And so you have to pick one. Most people try to pick both, and that creates a whole conundrum of issues. It's kind of like if you pulled your car up to the gas station and you filled it halfway up with regular gas, and you fill the other half up with diesel, guess what you're going to have? You're going to have a confused car. More than that, you're going to have a broken down car. And that's where most of our bodies are, because we're compounding two fuel sources, and then we expect our body to be able to use both of those fuel sources at the same time, which is actually factually impossible to do. And so what I've chosen for my lifestyle is fat as my fuel source, because it's a cleaner burning fuel source than carbohydrates. I feel better. I look better. I think better. I sleep better. I recover better. My stomach doesn't bother me. I have no GI issues. Like I just said, my cognitive functioning of my brain is 10 times better. And here's the kicker for me, and why I've been intermittent fasting for 10 years. My inflammation and pain are at an all-time low. For the last 10 years, I've had very low inflammation and pain. And you're probably thinking, why do you have inflammation and pain, brother? I got diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis when I was probably around 13 years old, because my hands started swelling and I started having pain. And from the time of 13 to probably 30-ish, I searched and struggled and tried and did anything and everything under the sun except for pharmaceutical drugs. I've never taken a pharmaceutical drug outside of an Advil for my inflammation or pain. I've always tried to combat it with my lifestyle. And it wasn't until I found intermittent fasting. Guys, the pain was so bad, and Lori can attest to this. When I first met her, I would not be able to sleep at night because my thumbs, my hands would feel like somebody was beating them with a sledgehammer. And if you know anything about me, I have a high pain tolerance. I have a high pain threshold. When I was 16 years old, I got my right knee completely reconstructed, ACL, cartilage, the whole 9 yards. They came in and gave me one pain shot. They came back in later on to give me another one. And I said, absolutely not. You will never give me another one of those. I absolutely hated it. I would rather be in a little bit of pain than have a painkiller coursing through my body, making me feel all weird. So I have got an extremely high pain threshold, and I've never taken anything more than an Advil. And so my search and my quest was necessary. I had to get this pain under control. And when I found intermittent fasting, and when I figured out that carbohydrates were not my friend when it came to my inflammation, when it came to the way my body handled them, my life changed exponentially. I've been in very minimal pain, and I have very few what I call outbreaks. And guess when I have an outbreak? Guess. When I'm a stooge, when I'm an idiot, when I eat sugar, when I eat high carbohydrate foods, guess what Jay's body does? Hello, we're going to have an outbreak, man. My hands will swell, my feet will swell, my knees will swell. I will feel like I got hit by a bus. And it's my fault, right? So let me get back to what I'm talking about. So I'm a fasted keto carnivore. So I'm not prescribing the ketogenic diet. I don't believe you should be eating 200 grams of fat every single day, right? I believe there's some principles of it that I like. There's some principles of it that I agree with, but I think people get confused in the marketing of it, and they're not willing to create a modified program of keto that will work for them. So I'm a fasted keto carnivore. So what does carnivore mean? It means I get most of my nutritional fuel and food sourcing from meats. I eat a lot of red meat, and people are like, you can't eat a lot of red meat. Guys, if you look at my blood work, my cholesterol is that of a brand new baby. It's just beautiful. It's gorgeous. My markers, my blood, my cardiovascular markers, my metabolic markers, they're beautiful. I eat a lot of red meat. But here's what I do. I eat cleanly sourced, grass-fed, grass-finished beef from only certain places. I eat very high-quality chicken when I can find it. I eat only ocean-dwelling, not farm-raised, wild-caught fishes. Is fishes not even a word? I love saying fishes and shrimps, and I like adding S's to weird words that don't even really should have S's, but that's not for this podcast. That's all I eat. Like those are my sources. And people are like, well, you don't eat any veggies. I eat a ton of that, and I eat a ton of avocado. Those are my primary nutritional sources. And some of you guys are flipping out right now. You're like, what? You only eat meat and avocado? For the most part, yes, that is 90% of my nutritional makeup. And then what about your fruits and veggies, Jay? The reason I don't eat fruits and veggies is this, and this is kind of a controversial topic in term, but you can look it up. All fruits and veggies have things called defense chemicals in them. And the defense chemicals are necessary because if the fruits and veggies didn't have these defense chemicals, then they would be eradicated by bugs and funguses and parasites and you name it, and they wouldn't even exist. But they've got things like ligands and tannins and phytates and oxalates and a whole lot. There's a laundry list of them, okay? I can't list them all. And what those things do to Jay Nixon's gastrointestinal system is they create a disruption. Have you ever eaten a salad and feel like somebody's punching you in the gut? Have you ever eaten veggies and feel like somebody was punching you in the gut? Guys, I used to be I'd probably say for 5 to 7 years, here was my nutritional intake. I ate a bag of spinach, jalapenos, and chicken breast almost every night. I've gone through a Brussels sprout phase. I've eaten more broccoli and cauliflower and asparagus than you can shake a stick at. And here's what I started noticing. When I ate those things, I felt like shit. I'm going to use Brussels sprouts as an example. I went on a Brussels sprout kick where I was loving them. And for a little while, it was okay. And then I got to a point where I would eat a Brussels sprout, one Brussels sprout, and I would immediately start belching and burping it up. My stomach would immediately go to like what I would consider a toxic level of, like we're going to have an issue here from one Brussels sprout. And so I'm like, okay, maybe it was just a bad Brussels. So I tried it again, same thing. Tried it again, same thing. And then the same thing started happening with other vegetables like broccoli, like cauliflower. And then I started noticing like, okay, what's the situation? And so when I remove those, right, and this is my lifestyle, guys, this is my plan, but you got to be listening to your body. Some of you guys are eating these same foods and they're punching you in the face every time, but you continue to eat them because somebody said you had to. I'm here to say you don't. So Jay, how do you get your greens? So here's what I do. Not a sales pitch. Don't buy this product. I have a supplement line. Most of you guys know that. I have 5 products in that supplement line, and those supplements that I've created are for me. I made them because I need them. I like them. I want to use them. And so when I started figuring this out about me and vegetables and me and fruits, I said, well, okay, bud, why do you eat vegetables and fruits anyway? And I said, well, because I want the vitamins and the minerals and the micronutrients and the macronutrients and all of the goodness that comes from fruits and veggies. And then I said, okay, well, how can we get that? And I said, well, what if we go to our nutritional manufacturer? We said, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I need. And so I created an elite, it's called Thrive Elite Greens. So it's 12 servings, roughly 12 to 14 servings, depending on your scoop size, of the nutrients that you get from fruits and vegetables in one easy to consume, drinkable product. And I'll have 1 to 2 servings of that every day. So I'm getting my nutrients, I'm getting the vitamins and the minerals and all of those things. I'm just not going through the pain of having to consume those products, kale, broccoli, asparagus, and all of those things because of the gastrointestinal issues that it gives me. So with my elite greens, when all of the defense chemicals have been removed, then I can enjoy the greens product and not have to have the pain and inflammation that comes along with me eating like somebody told me I had to eat. And again, I'm telling you guys this because this is my journey, and I'm suggesting that you find your journey. You find what works for you. And so I'm a fasted keto carnivore who likes cocktails, right? Most people in the nutritional world, guys, let me tell you it again. I own a fitness studio. I am a transformational weight loss, wellness, and lifestyle optimization coach. I own a nutritional supplement line. If you know anything about me, I teach and preach from the highest rafters about being healthy and fit and longevity and taking care of yourself and disease prevention. No more diabetes, no more obesity. Let's crush it and kill it. That's what I do on a daily basis. I've written books about it. I have a podcast about it. I'm all about it. But I also love cocktails, and I've been open and honest about that. I'll have wine. I'll have champagne. I'll have a vodka soda. Like, I'm not averse to not having fun in my life, right? I eat whatever I want when I want. And somebody like, well, what do you mean? You just told us what you eat. Let me give you an example. Last weekend, Lori and I were in Las Vegas. Yeah, we go to Las Vegas a lot. You know why? They have great food there. So when I go to Las Vegas, I'll eat things I normally don't eat. I had 2 pieces of pizza last weekend. 2 pieces. Loved it. It was delicious. I don't eat bread. Pizza has bread. I don't eat cheese. Pizza has cheese. I try to avoid like greasy, weird stuff. It was greasy. Guess what? I enjoyed the shit out of it. And guess what happened? Nothing. I got a little bit of a rumbly belly, but I'm like, hey, man, that's pretty damn good. But would I eat it on the daily? No, I wouldn't, because I understand what my lifestyle goals are. But I'm telling you this to show you that I can eat anything, anytime, any place, anywhere that I want, because I've created a lifestyle that affords that. And so let's get to numbers. Let's talk about numbers. Like I said, I'll be 48 years old in October. I know some of you guys are tired of hearing about how old I am. I only bring it up a lot because I get confused on it. When I look at myself, I'm like, you are a 24-year-old youngster. You got your whole life ahead of you. And then something reminds me that that's not true, right? So I'm 48 in October. I've got my in-body test right here. 168 pounds. Not too bad, not too shabby. 8.4% body fat. If you're watching on, let me try to get this close enough to the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to show you the test, right? I'm going to see if you can see it. 8.4 right there. Body fat. 8.4, right? It's got my name. Well, of course it has my name on it. I filled it in, but let me show you this because somebody's going to be like, that's not you, bro. Like you just found that on the intranet. I'm telling you, 8.4% body fat. That's pretty low, guys. Healthy, fit. My blood numbers are amazing. I'm 168, 170 pounds. That's pretty low, right? And I'm doing it with a lifestyle that is comprised of intermittent fasting. My fasting window is I eat about 11 to 12 o'clock every day, and I stop eating around 5 or 6 every day. Now, if I go out, if there's a party, if Lori wants to go to a later dinner, then all I do is I push my window back a little bit and I'll open my window for eating at 1 o'clock. And then I'll have food from 1 to 8. And it doesn't change anything. Or I might go crazy. I might say, listen, I'm hungry at 11. I'm going to open it at 11 and I'm going to eat till 8. So I'm not rigid. I'm not strict. It doesn't have to be. It's not all or nothing. So I'm also flexible. And as you can tell, I'm fun. So I'm fasted, flexible, keto, carnivore. I love cocktails. I love to have fun. 8.4% body fat. Almost 50 years old. I'd show you my abs, but it would do 2 things. It'd piss half of you off and the other half would don't even know. I've never been more fit in my life. And it wasn't because I did something somebody else told me that I had to do. It was because I was willing to keep searching and keep looking until I found what worked for me. And I knew this as well. I was going to have to do it a little longer than 5 minutes. I was going to have to do it a little longer than 6 weeks. I was going to have to do it a little longer. And when I finally found it and figured it out, it's been a game changer ever since. I mentioned earlier that I was at one point in my life obese. When I played college football, guys, I'm about listen, if you ask me, I'm going to tell you I'm 5'10". If you measure, I'm probably going to be closer to 5'9" and a half. I know, disappointing. But 225 pounds, 5'9" and a half, 19 years old. Look at a height and weight chart, and it would tell you this guy's obese. I wasn't obese. At that time of my life, I was kind of built like a pissed off silverback gorilla, like no neck, monstrous, muscular legs, pretty gnarly to look back and see a picture of me then. But I would have been obese, right? And so that's why I don't really play a lot in the world of what the scale says. And as a transformational weight loss coach, I kind of have to, because it's a metric that most people are addicted to. But I wouldn't have known that I weighed 168 pounds unless I got on this in-body scale, because I don't look at that. I'm a visual person. I can look and see where I'm at, how my clothes fit, how my body feels, how I'm recovering, the whole 9 yards. But I've only been able to do this because I've gotten really in touch and in tune with my body. And I people use the phrase like, listen to your body. Here's the truth. Most of our bodies have been lying to us for like 20, 30, 40 years. So listen to our body has kind of become this catchphrase of like, I don't really feel like doing shit. Or I'd really like to eat a hamburger and French fries and my body's kind of craving that, so I'm going to do it. Or chocolate cake and bubble baths. Or here's what listening to your body and self-care really is, guys. It's truth, right? I'm just going to give you some factual truth now. Listening to your body and self-care is understanding what is going to benefit you long-term, right? You have to listen for the long-term. And most people will use it when they say, well, I'm sore, so I'm going to listen to my body and not do anything. Well, conventional wisdom will tell you this, and factual science will tell you this. If you're sore, the best thing you can do is move your body to become unsore. Actually, being sedentary makes the soreness worse. So listening to your body because you're sore and tired is actually counterintuitive, right? You see what I'm saying? So we've got to kind of drop that as an excuse to not do the things we know that we're supposed to do, right? And so you have to understand that you need to build the life. So I'm going to get back on, you know me, I go tangenty. I'll go off on a tangent. You have to get back on the quest for the lifestyle that works for you, right? And I've got a lot of things in there, right? Like fasted, flexible. I didn't put flexible in the title. Fasted, flexible, keto-carnivore, cocktails, fun. Homeboy ate some pizza. Like, who is this crazy person? I'm someone who's figured it out. But that's just it. I figured it out. I cracked the code for me. And I help people crack the code for them. Most of the time, a new client will come into me and they'll say, Jay, tell me exactly what to eat, and I'm going to do it. Okay, we can start there. But we have to have some flex in there. Or we have to have some flexibility in there to figure out what you're willing to do first and foremost. And see, here's the thing about me. I'm willing to do pretty much anything and everything to be healthy and fit and feel good and look good from just an aesthetics perspective and all those things, right? I'm willing to do anything and everything not to have pain and inflammation. I'm willing to do anything and everything to be the best version of myself that there is. Some people aren't willing to do anything and everything. And so for me to tell you, do what I say to do, is probably the most counterintuitive thing on the planet. You know, it's like Lori says, she's like, you're a bit of a psychopath, right? And you're not going to find many psychopaths that are going to do exactly what you're willing to do. And I said, I agree with you 100%, nor would I even prescribe that most people do what I do from a workout perspective, from an eating perspective, just from a lifestyle belief perspective. It's not for everybody. And so what I do when a client comes to me is I say, hey, let's work together, right? And let's figure out what it is that's going to benefit you long-term, right? Because there's no sense in doing something short-term, losing a little bit of weight, stopping it, gaining that weight back, and creating that disruption in your body. So let's figure out a lifestyle program. Now, you've ever heard me speak? I never use the D word. And so my lifestyle plan is kind of what I've described to you. So let's figure out your lifestyle plan. What are you willing to do? Some people aren't willing to give up sugary carbohydrates. And so what you've got to do is you've got to figure out how, like, listen, I'm not willing to give up a cocktail. I'm not willing to give up enjoying a glass of wine in the evenings after Lori gets home from work and chatting about her day. I'm not going to give that up. And guess what? I don't have to. I'm 168 pounds, 8.4% body fat. I don't have to because I've created a lifestyle that allows it. But if I was 268 pounds and 58.4% body fat, then that wouldn't be in a lifestyle that allowed that. That would be in a lifestyle that I had to make some modifications for, right? And so what you need to understand is like where you are is where you need to be, and that's where you have to start. And you're going to start somewhere and you're going to modify and change as you grow and go into the person, the physical body, the mental, the emotional body that you need to be in. And then you're going to have more allowances, because I don't believe in deprivation or starvation, but I do believe that you're going to have to do some challenging things to get to the places and spaces that you want to get to. It's not just going to be in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 6 weeks. Like I've got a ton of clients that have lost well over 100 pounds. And guess what? They're still on the journey because they understand that now they can't go back to where they were. They've got to create a new version of who they are in a lifestyle program and plan. And that's really what we do. We're just consistently modifying and growing. Like I'm not going to be the same version of me next week or even tomorrow than I am today as I'm recording this. And when I know that a modification needs to be made, I'm willing, where it goes back to that, what am I willing to do? I'm willing to listen. It would be like this. If I started eating avocado and it started disrupting my stomach, started making me feel bad, I started getting inflammation, I'm willing to excommunicate it from my life at a moment's notice, even though I love it. I love steak. If I eat steak and I started having problems, gastrointestinal, inflammation, blood didn't look good, something was wrong, I'd excommunicate it from my life at a moment's notice. Because that's what I'm willing to do. Because remember, my thing is I'm willing to do anything and everything that it takes to be healthy, fit, feel good, right? Feel good, look good, think well, sleep well, be happy. I'm willing to do anything to get to those places. So you've got to decide, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to do? Right? And that's where it all starts. Because if you're unwilling, it doesn't matter who is guiding you. If they're giving you ideas and strategies and tools and techniques that you're unwilling to execute on, well, then it's a waste of everybody's time. And so the first question I ask my clients is, what are you willing to do? Right? Seriously, what are you willing to do? And we'll work around that. Because until we know what we're working around, we're just throwing darts at the wall and hoping they stick. And that's not a way to go through life. Let's get strategic about it. Let's communicate about it. Let's have a process and a plan. And this is, go back to me. That's how I got to be a fasted, flexible keto carnivore who loves cocktails and fun. And I'm here to tell you this because you don't need to listen to anybody who tells you that it's only one way. There's no such thing as that. There's no such thing as only one way. You can take a little bit of everybody's ideas and incorporate them onto your plate and create a lifestyle that works for you. And that includes me. I'm going to give you ideas and strategies and things that have worked for me. But if you try it and it doesn't, then guess what? We just need to figure out, we'll take a little bit of this out and we'll add a little bit of this in. And eventually we'll create your perfect lifestyle program. Because it took me a long time to figure out mine. So you're not going to figure out yours in a day or in a week or in a month. But as long as you're willing and you want to be healthy, fit, and happy and abundant and love life, it's going to be worth it. I just want you to win. And I want you to know that there's more than one way to win, right? It doesn't have to be my way. It doesn't have to be their way, his way, her way. And here's the thing what I want you to understand. When you look at, if you listen to last week's podcast, you're going to hear a lot about clinical studies and clinical data and things of that nature. Well, when I went and looked back at that, right, and these are one of the things that I get a little bit miffed by, is when, without full transparency, right? Like I'm willing to be fully transparent with you. I'm willing to show you my numbers. I'm willing to show you my blood. I'm willing to tell you that I used to be fat. The curtains have been opened. And I'm not willing to BS you. I just told you not to buy my elite greens. Don't buy them. Right? If you like eating cauliflower, broccoli, asparagus, kale, spinach, if you like eating those things, you don't need it. Don't eat it. Right? I'm not trying to sell you anything. But when I have somebody on and they won't answer questions and they go back to data and they say, well, this clinical data, and then when I go look and I look who paid for the clinical data and it's the company who's selling the product, well, that alarms me, right? Especially when I ask a lot of questions around that could have been answered without relating it back to what they're trying to pitch. It's kind of like this. If I said, hey guys, I'm the #1 podcaster in the world. And then you guys went and looked at the ratings for that. And the only people that got surveyed were my mom and Lori, and we had to throw Lori's vote out because she's not willing to lie. And it was just my mom. And she said, well, it's my son. Of course, he's the #1 podcaster in the world. Right? You see what I'm saying? It's kind of biased and kind of BS. So that's what you kind of got to look for when you're looking at all of these ideas and all of these people throwing all this marketing stuff at you. Keto, paleo, anything and everything, right? The pills, the potions, and the lotions. You got to ask your questions like, why and where? Like, why is this? Like, why is this necessary? Why is this being prescribed? And I use the word prescribed. Why is this being offered? Why is this being pitched? Why am I being sold this? And then where does it come from? Like, where does the backing and the science and the data and the ideas? Like today, I started this podcast very simply and said, I'm going to tell you what has worked for me. Right? That's irrefutable, because I'm not telling you that there's scientific data. I'm not telling you that I've studied 17,000 patients on this. I'm not telling you any of that. I'm saying today, this is the lifestyle process and program that works for me. And my encouragement is that you find the one that works for you, and that you not be manipulated along the way by someone trying to sell you something, or someone even trying to sell you an idea that eventually sells you into something. Because if we really think about it, if you think about it from this perspective, wellness, fitness, nutrition, right, from all those perspectives, to get to a healthy body should be free within respects, right? I mean, yes, we have to pay for food. And yes, if we go to a gym, or we even have dumbbells at home, or we have a treadmill, or we have whatever it is, and we have tennis shoes, and we have all those things outside of those cost. But it should really be free to be fit, right? Now you're saying, well, Jay, well then why do you have a transformational human optimization lifestyle weight loss program? Well, it's because I understand that people need support, right? They need support, and they need accountability, and they need, because we're tribal, we're tribal pack animals. And I understand that sometimes it's challenging to do things on your own. It's why I have coaches and mentors. It's why I surround myself with people that are doing the things that I want to do. So that's why I have the Thrive Forever Fit program. That's why I do one-on-one coaching. But I'm not trying to sell you into anything. Like, you'll very rarely hear me pitch my supplements, which is stupid on my part, right? Because they're the cleanest, purest, best tasting, healthiest nutritional supplements on the planet. But I don't want you to feel like you're being sold to all the time. I want you to understand that your decisions away from being healthy and fit, and all nutritional supplements are nutritional insurance policies, right? They're not even necessary. Like I said, don't buy my Thrive Elite Greens if you enjoy eating kale and broccoli and spinach and all those things. I don't want to eat kale. I don't want to eat broccoli. I don't want to eat asparagus. I don't. So I created a product so I don't have to, right? So that's who it's for. It's for people who don't want it. People who are like me that don't want to eat it. So if you're like me, it's for you. But if you're not like me, then it's not for you, right? See, that's simple. That's transparent. That's honest. I could easily say, well, everybody needs, even if you're eating all these fruits and veggies, you should probably still take my Elite Greens, because I could come up with some kind of BS bullshit marketing. I could, but I won't. I never have. I never will. Like, I'm always going to be honest and transparent with you. That's why this show is here. That's why I'm here, because we're in like a $5 trillion wellness and weight loss and fitness and nutrition industry, and we've never been more unhealthy. Right? We've never been more out of shape, more overweight, more overwhelmed, more confused. And that's why I did this podcast today, because it is confusing. And sometimes I even get confused. It's like I had to go back and listen to yesterday's podcast, and I was like, wait a minute. Why didn't you just answer that? Like, why did it have to circle back around? Like, why did it have to be a smoke show? You know? I get irritated. I get pissed. So I can only imagine how irritated and pissed you are. But I'm here to tell you, there's a way out. You just focus on you. Focus on what works for you, and understand that it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what he thinks, she thinks, they think. It matters what you're willing to do and what you think, what works for you. That's it. I appreciate you, love you, grateful for you. Like I say, I don't even know why you guys listen to this podcast. I'm gonna be honest with you. Right? I'm just a dude who gives a shit. That's on my business card. I care about people. I want people to win. I want people to have success. Most importantly, I want people to be happy. I want people to be happy and in love with life, because that's what I am. And I know what it feels like. And I want that for you. I want that for everybody. And so be awesome to yourself. Be awesome to each other. And I'll be back next week with another episode. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for listening. Hey, before you go, I'd just like to say thank you again for listening to the Thrive Forever Fit podcast and watching on YouTube. It means the absolute world to me. And if you would do me one favor, and that is simply subscribe and review this podcast on whatever platform it is that you enjoy it on, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, doesn't matter. I would absolutely be so grateful and so thankful if you do that for me. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you again next week with an awesome, awesome episode. Bye.